Radiant team banned.
Alright everyone, hey, welcome to the Echo League Season 2 Meester Krab versus
Dire
HbS
team
for
banned.
Strats. I will be skipping the draft as since this is a replay cast, I already know it's going to get
Radiant
picked.
team banned.
So I don't think there's much a point in, casting that. I will talk about the draft, but first let me say I am not casting on my home computer or my home
Dire
network.
team banned.
Thankfully this is a replay cast and I am not streaming this, otherwise I don't think that would work at all. But it does mean that there will be pretty bad FPS, and I do apologize for that. I intend to recast these later when I do get home, but that might be a few days, so we'll see. But anyways, thank you for putting up with me. I just need to make sure that these are done, and so that I'm able to continue casting for
Radiant
Echo
team
League.
pick.
I've been pretty busy lately, so it's been kind of difficult to make the time to do so. But I have some free time now, but unfortunately not quite as good technology at my disposal. But
Clockwork.
anyways, let's skip ahead through the draft again.
Dire team
It's a
pick.
replay cast, and if you would like me for future replay casts to cast drafts, please post in the comments or message me directly if you have me on Steam or over Discord, and I will do that. But for now, I will not, for the sake of time, and also again I already know it's going to get picked. So we're gonna
Reserve time.
fast forward.
Dire team ban. Dire team pick.
Actually, you know what? Not
10
even fast
seconds
forward. We're just gonna
remaining.
skip ahead.
5 seconds.
Slada.
Alright, sorry about that.
Team pick.
How clumsy.
Reserve time.
Alright, so looking at their drafts overall, it's a classic draw Visage coming from Meester Krab, and they also have a Medusa going with it, so Medusa's laning phase is pretty weak, but with the Drow Aura stacked on top of it, and I suspect she'll be their mid laner, that's pretty scary. Actually, it probably, no matter who you put in the mid lane, it's going to be pretty gross. Because they're midding against Sniper, who has Shrapnel, and then you have a roaming Crystal Maiden and a roaming Skywrath Mage that's going to put a lot of pressure on. I think both offlaners, I think the Darkseer is going to feel a lot safer than the Slardar. And the Darkseer actually going to be able to bully the Phantom Assassin pretty handily, whereas the Slardar is going to have a very hard time harassing. He's going to rely on the supports to roam down there and do that for him. I think I like the support duo from Meester Krab better. I think it scales a lot better. Skywrath doesn't scale that well. Crystal Maiden doesn't scale badly, but not, insanely well either. But with Clockwork and Visage getting an Ags increases, especially with the Jaw Ranger, increases their damage output significantly. However, again, keep in mind Jaw Ranger can only buff the Visage familiars when she activates her aura, which has about a 3-minute cooldown if I remember correctly. So it's good, and it's going, when she activates it in teamfights, you're in a hard push, they're going to melt these towers, but it's not going to be permanent uptime like it was a year or so ago. Maybe more. I think it was even more than a year ago that did get nerfed.
10 seconds remaining.
Alright, so loading into the game now. That's not accurate, but I'm gonna say I favor Meester Krab's draft. I think they have a much more solid game plan. Maybe ultra late game. No, because they even have Medusa. And I think their lanes are better too, with Darkseer, Visage, Clock. Those heroes are going to be very high impact in the laning stage. However, you cannot understate the effectiveness of something like a Skywrath roaming around. There's a lot of kill potential there.
It was time to prepare for battle.
So, introducing the teams on the side of the Radiant, we have HTPG, I'm just going to call him HT, playing the Drow Ranger. Then, oh yeah, Bree. Then Bree is playing the Clockwork. Medusa is being played by Cinny. Darkseer being played by Snarf. It's a nice little cosmetic he's got right there. And Visage being headed up by Check. Meanwhile, on the Dire side, Hats before Strats has the Crystal Maiden being played by Edgy. And oh, speaking of Edgy, they're roaming in under smoke. They have the Frostbite, Crush. He started, that's probably the better choice, and Shrapnel, so a lot of slows, a lot of control here. This could be very dangerous for Thundercats. Oh, they might actually just catch out the Not Thundercats, sorry. I'm thinking of
30
Snarf as a
seconds
Thundercat,
remaining.
but HTP, not a very mobile hero. The smoke's about to break though, and they don't have any long-range control coming out. Well, they do have the shrapnel slow. Are they going to be able to connect it onto this Drow Ranger? They throw out one little Mystic Bolt. If nothing else, they're going to get this rune, and that looks like that's all they're going to be able to get. However, they're chasing down this Clockwork, who's now on the dire side of the map. Shrapnel coming out, slowing him up on the high ground here by the shrine, and another Shrapnel coming out, and oh man, Bree, I think he went the wrong way. Probably should have ran towards his mid, so definitely, I mean, he's, yeah, no, he's dead, and I think that was just a mistake. He's desperately trying to get that rune, but not going to be able to. And Sniper grabbing First Blood and a Bounty rune, that's 400 gold. He can nearly finish his Ring of Aquila if he wants it, but Darkseer, Snarf just harassing up this PA. However, it's only rank 1 Ion Shell, so it's not huge damage by any stretch, and he's going to be just fine. And now we have a short pause, but the wonderful part about replay casting is I can just fast forward it, and now they're back. So, First Blood going the way of Hats before Struts. I think Clockwork really, probably not the way to go. I think that was a pretty serious error on his part. He definitely could have just walked like this way, and probably been, but maybe even this way would have been better. Take a couple tower shots, but still maybe safer. But this is just going to be harassing up the Slardar, and with that Drow Aura, that's pretty good damage. Slardar does have a stout shield, so it's not going to be, you know, the end of the world, but Darkseer clearing one wave, but going to miss out on a lot of another. He is almost level 2 though, so he's probably pretty happy with how everything is. I want to make sure this is actually ordered correctly. Yes. Mid lane, this is a fairly even matchup. However, I think Medusa has slightly more kill potential alone from the Mystic Snake bounces once those get high rank, if she does decide to max that. Sometimes they don't. But Sniper does have much stronger harass. There's more burst potential from Mystic Snakes, but first they have to bounce to him, and they probably won't until later ranks. But again, that max damage could be pretty scary. So this mid lane is going pretty evenly. Medusa gonna have an edge though because of that Drow Aura. However, Sniper's range and headshot procs could help him quite a lot. Bioacid doing all right down here in this bot lane. I mean, he has no CS, but he's managing to stay at least reasonably within creep range, and that's mostly all he could ask for at this point. And oh, Crystalline found Darkseer. Just gonna throw out a little bit of harass. I know Darkseer throwing out Ion Shells on the creep wave. This really messes with the PA. It is only rank 1 right now, so now is a much better time for her to handle it. But yeah, we see this Crystalline frostbiting that creep, making sure it goes down, and now Darkseer gonna surge away. No frostbite to kill him off, but forcing Crystalline to use frostbite like that is probably really beneficial for the Darkseer. But the mana cost of that spell is very, very high, and Darkseer himself can just cast it on his own body. Still get some good CS from that. And now Sniper picking up a haste rune, maybe going to try to bully this Medusa a little bit with the haste, but oh, that was uphill mischance. But Medusa, again, with that Drow Aura, I want to say it's rank 2, because she's getting a lot of damage from that. Nope, still only rank 1, but oh, Cog's coming out. The Visage with the Soul Assumption could definitely nuke him down here, and yeah, that's going to be a quick kill. And if that Scarlet gets slowed up too much, nah, he should be fine. Scarlet is a very speedy hero, but it's going to be now 1 for 1. They're doing, I think, lanes are beginning to favor Meester Krabs. I mean, the Visage is going to be doing a lot of work for zoning out the Slardar. When he sprints, if he gets hit by that Grave Chill, that's going to be really bad for Slardar. He's going to lose all of that speed, and not only is he going to lose it, he's going to give it to the Visage. A big stack here, but they don't really have stack farmers till the Medusa comes online, and I guess neither do Hats before Strats HbS. Not a lot of stack farmers unless the PA goes Battle Fury. You could farm with the Shrapnel, but with that magic damage aura, magic resist aura, I should say, on the creeps, it's going to be pretty rough. And now Snarf with that rank 2 Ion Shell, going to be a lot more frustrating to lane against. Clockwork is sitting in the mid lane. Has battery assault now. Shrapnel coming out, just trying to harass up, and that does not bounce to the sniper, but a pretty grotesque amount of damage. Mystic Snake hits surprisingly hard in the early stages. Now Skyward coming bot, trying to counteract the pulls and trying to keep the Slardar able to get some XP. This pull, though, going to wipe out most of this creep wave. Drow just going to use that to farm, though. She does manage to get that last hit, so it was a pretty reasonable... I don't know if that was on purpose. If Slardar did that or Skyward did that on purpose, great, but otherwise it might have been, you know, they accidentally pull dire creeps over here, and... Now, they're putting some more harass. Silence on the Slardar. Gravechill coming out. I don't know if they have any kill potential. There's only 2 charges on the Soul Assumption. But a lot of harass. It's going to be pretty significant zoning in Skywrath. He wanted that rune, but it's gone. Long gone. Actually, I think Clockwork picked it up right as it spawned, and oh. Popping the battery assault, just beating up the Skywrath mage. The concussive shot coming out. He has cogs, but not going to be able to continue pursuing him at all. And has his brown boots now, so Clockwork a lot more lethal once he has that. And Darkseer, I think he might have been getting gone on, but he's just fine. Has a soul ring, so infinite ion shells, lots of HP regen as well, going to be pretty hard to beat down. And oh, Skywrath Mage looks like something that bought a little bit of harass coming out, but not going to be able to do anything. Sniper picking up a regen rune, so he's actually having a both mid laners are doing really well. And Medusa forced back, not even able to... she's not able to... She could wait just a few seconds and grab her TP, so that's going to be fine. TPs are so cheap now, but... Forced back, so Sniper going to get that level advantage. Already level 6. Starting to catch up in CS, and she was only barely ahead anyway. And Snarf just trying to zone out with that Ion Shell. And oh, Bioacid going down in the bot lane. And Skywrath Mage sitting in the trees over here. If he's found, he could be in serious trouble. So Medusa laning pretty well here. Throwing out that Mystic Snake. Now that's a good quarter of Sniper's health just chunked out by that Mystic Snake. But now using his range advantage, or no, he actually doesn't have a point in it yet. Going for the full harass build. I think that was probably the best choice, actually. And maxing Shrapnel, also a very good choice in this game, I think. I think a couple points in it for value would have been good. I think either maxing Headshot or Taking would have been better. Because he's already going to have a hard time running away from these heroes, and eliminating his one real advantage, which is, you know, his range, against a team that's going to be really good at beating him up, not good. And the Crush not going to connect on this Drow, and Drow stuck in a really awkward position, trying to TP out. Is she actually going to get out the... Oh, Mystic Bolt, Arcane Bolt, just coming off. Actually didn't quite hit the mana port, just a couple away, and Drow Ranger able to TP back to base. So, well played from him. Very fortunate the Crush missed and was still on cooldown. Medusa still just barely ahead of the Sniper, but both mid laners very well farmed. Sniper is boasting a slight XP lead. And oh, Edgy going down at the top. Apologize for the T-Tors. Solo killed by the Clockwork with the second rank in the Battery Assault. That's a lot more damage, doubling its effectiveness. And not only that, but the duration is just so long. You know, at the top lane, Snarf, level 6. PA, only level 4. Needs to be careful with these Ion Shells. That's a double Ion Shell, and who Phantom Assassin does not want anything to do with that. That harass is going to be devastating. Fortunately for her, the tower going to wipe that out, but yeah, the rank 3 Ion Shell is a real nasty thing to lane against. Oh, Sniper trapped in the mid lane. Battery Assault taking him down. He's pushed away by the cogs, but it's not going to matter. Crystal Maiden TPing in, but I don't think there's anything that she can do about this. She should be very careful here.
He's under fire.
And now Medusa, with this Clockwork, picking up a kill on the Sniper, going to pretty much nullify any sort of advantage that he had. They're completely tied on last hits, but Medusa a few more denies, and now has an assist under her belt as well.
A soldier's fortune.
Crystal Maiden still lurking around mid, maybe wanting to try to kill this Medusa. She doesn't have a point in her ult yet. She has an extra skill point though, so she could point the ult. She maybe goes to max the mana shield, and yeah, she maxes the mana shield. And Crystal Maiden, is she's gonna stick around? Are they gonna try to get this Medusa? I don't know if they have the damage. The max mana shield would make her extremely tanky. Crystal Maiden, the slow going to connect. There is a charge of shrapnel, but they're not going to throw it out. And now Crystal Maiden can get some really nasty right-click caress done onto her with that Drow Aura. Over 100 damage, 130 damage per hit from this Medusa at this stage of the game. Very, very nasty. And Crush not going to connect. Bioacid not able to find it. Soul Simpson charges did fade away. They don't last that long, and Slardar going to be forced back. Now Darkseer continuing his spawn. Going to have his Arcane Boot soon. I suspect he'll go Guardian Greaves, or maybe I would think Mech Blink Guardian Greaves or Mech Blink, you know, Pipe if he feels that's what they need. Now the Sniper ult coming out, picking off the Dusa. Man, she got really low. That's the strength of maxing out something like the Shrapnel. The Harass is really, a lot of people underestimate the damage of the Shrapnel, and probably just stood in it for too long. Got poked down by those right clicks. Maybe a few good headshot procs, and ult all it's gonna take. Now the silence coming out. The slow though. Drow Ranger very, very low. None of her supports in the neighborhood. If the Crush comes out, it does connect on both. Drow Ranger, the Mystic Bolt going to, Arcane Bolt going to come out, and it looks like she's going to go down here. One more right click should do the trick, and she will die. Bioacid getting beat down by that Battery Assault, and he's going to go down too. And Battery Assault still ticking. He might even kill the Skywrath Mage. The concussive shot's coming on, but he's getting blocked up by the creeps, and no Rocket Flare either. And it's only rank 1, so not a lot of damage. So a 1-for-1 trade, but definitely favoring the Dire. Hat's going to be really happy trading their Slardar away for a Drow Ranger. But looking at this farm, man, PA only 19 CS to the Drow Ranger's 35 and the Medusa's 44. This Phantom Assassin is getting nothing in her lane. She doesn't even have her face boots at 9 minutes. She needs to be careful. She can't get too close to the creep wave or she's going to die. I mean, if she doesn't have someone to blink to, and that's, I'm guessing level 4 Ion Shell, yeah, she'll just die if she stands in it, especially a double Ion Shell. Even this one rank in Ion Shell is just causing her a lot of grief. Drow Ranger going to be going for a Dragon Lance as well, and the Medusa, that Mana Shield helping her a bit, getting poked up by the Sniper. He needs to be careful. In a straight up fight, Medusa will win with right clicks. He needs to get, you know, good headshot procs. He needs to bring her down a bit with shrapnel, pierce, you know, pick away at her Mana Shield. But, you know, straight on fight, thanks to that Drow Aura, she's doing 150 damage per hit at just 9 minutes. He needs to be very, very cautious. Oh, with Silence coming out, Clockwork is pretty low. He might pop that Battery Assault. Oh, Sniper trapped in the cogs with that Clockwork, but the damage from the Sniper might actually be enough to kill him. Is that Battery Assault gonna do it? And just barely does the Clockwork kill off that Sniper. But Crystal Maiden, she sees him, she's trying to slow him, but not gonna get him, and no redemption for that Sniper. He's just gonna get picked off. Was not super low, but Battery Assault, man. At rank 3, that's what? 0.770, lasts for 10.5 seconds. If you're in there for 4 seconds, 42 seconds, that's 6 ticks. 6 ticks does, before reductions, 420 damage. Ouch. Oh, Crystal Maiden slowed up. Medusa does have Stone Gaze now, but probably not going to use it. And man, those right clicks are just massive. And oh, that Crystal Maiden blown right up. And Skywrath is going to be just fine. Sounds like a Sniper ult flying out onto the Visage. Visage is going to be just fine though. However, caught in that shrapnel, he may go down. And the Rocket Flare coming out. Medusa popping her ult, trying to slow up the Sniper. Wants to continue pursuing, going up the high ground. But another TP coming in. Clockwork Cook not going to find anybody. And now the Shrine pop. They definitely don't want to fight up inside a Shrine, especially when the Medusa used her ult so early there, trying to slow up that Sniper. Maybe going to try to set up for a hook shot, but unfortunately we're unable to find that. And even if they were, she was low on mana, no Mystic Snake, but and that means a lot, highly reduced survivability as well. Drow Ranger and Medusa again going for the Dragon Lances. Sniper going for a Force Staff first. I actually like that. His build is a lot more utility oriented in the early game here, which I think is okay, because Skywrath and Crystal Maiden do a fair chunk of damage in the early game. Not consistent damage, but reasonable burst. Plus he picked up his attack speed talent, so that'll kind of help compensate. But you know that he's going to build that Force Step into a Hurricane Pike. Probably thinking, you know what, I have Take Aim, and oh,
Radiant's middle
Clockwork
tower
getting
is
one
not
pick there, and now the
safe.
amp damage on the Darkseer, but I don't think that's enough. Slardar still going for it, popping the crush, doing some nuke damage onto the Darkseer, but getting burst down by that Visage. The Soul Assumption just wrecking people in this game, and now Gravechill coming out. Ooh, the Mystic Snake bounces once, bounces twice, bounces to Crystal Maiden, kills her off, and now the Soul Assumption was wasted, so perhaps he's going to be just fine here. He pops the concussive shot. Visage not enough mana for a Soul Assumption, but just going to pop a deep ward back here, and they're going to get that tier 1 tower. It's the first tower of the game, however, I don't think it's the only tower at this point. Drow Ranger at the bot has toggled her aura. The creeps will have it for a little while longer, and that's a huge amount of damage for ranged creeps. And Sniper does get a return tower in that bot in the mid lane, so a very important tower picked off. And now with his picks up an Invis rune, so it's going to be good for him. Going to be able to just wander away without getting any poke, and not going to be found out by a Ion Shelled Clockwork, who is going for a Blade Mail as his first item. He could be in trouble here. Actually, the Sniper could be in trouble. If Sniper gets spotted out by that clock and caught in a cogs and a battery, so he's dead. He needs to be careful, but now the clock is in serious trouble, trying to hook away, but that Sniper ult should be enough to get him. So that's a 600 gold going the way of the Sniper, finishing his 4th staff and getting him closer to that Hurricane Pike. And now at the bot lane, it looks like there's some supports here in the jungle. Skywrath Mage perhaps considering a deep ward someplace, and oh, they spot the Visage. A dagger coming out, and Visage, even with Gravekeeper's Cloak, is only rank 1, getting bursted down very, very fast, and gets blown right up. And now the entire Dire team is at the bot lane. They are under a ward though, so Radiant can just probably avoid them. So 2 good kills there for the Dire. They get a little bit of gold for their heroes, a little bit of XP too. Crystal Maiden only level 5 through ranks in the aura. It's pretty standard build for the Crystal Maiden in this meta. Sniper going for a Maelstrom actually, instead of the 4th step. Again, sorry, it's after the 4th step, instead of the Dragon Lance. Perhaps thinking, you know what, take aim will be enough. But I think the stats from the Dragon Lance are just so good that why would you wanna... I think the stats are why you get them. I don't think you get it for the range. And oh, a jump back on the Drow Ranger. The Mystic Flare coming out doing massive damage to the Jar. She pops out her silence, but it's not enough, and that's a killing spree for Skywrath Mage. I'm not gonna say that name. Sorry, friend. Hookshot cooling down in 7 seconds. Mystic Snake trying to zone them out, trying to clear that wave. Meanwhile, Drow Ranger did get picked off, so they don't have that aura. Very unfortunate. A lot of damage lost without the aura. And oh, the Stomp coming out, catching on the Clockwork. The Stonefire coming out. He throws out his hook, but not. And the battery still in the cogs, trapping in the Phantom Assassin, who will be going down. And now stoned up. 3 heroes are turned to stone. That's going to be enough. The Snare coming out onto the Medusa. Her mana shield is fading away. Now with a 1-point take aim, Sniper's range a little bit further. The slow from the Crystal Maiden coming out as well. But oh, Crystal Maiden trapped here in the trees. And with Drow Ranger back, just look at that damage from the Medusas. But a Soul Assumption is all it takes, and she's going to go down. And now Vacuum is ready. They have the back pulling the Sniper back, but he forced himself to safety. Good item pickup, but it may not be enough. The Slardar Crush is... Oh, he doesn't have the mana. He's just about to have the mana for it. He could stomp the Darkseer, but it's not going to be enough to save him. And now not Crystal Maiden, sorry, but the shot from the Sniper is going to kill off the Darkseer. And now Medusa, however, she's on a killing spree. Looking at the fight recap, though, I think that may have been worth for the... It was super close. Very barely any kind of exchange from either side. And yeah, I think that was a really even trade. Probably favoring Radiant because they can now transition into a tower, which is very important. Oh, a smoke coming now. They're not going to let this go... They're not going to let this go for free. They really want something now. But they're spotted from the high ground. The silence coming out, connecting on both heroes. So they're going to run away. Are they going to try to beat them down? The PA only has 1 point in blur, but the shrapnel coming out, slowing them up. They need to be careful here. The rocket flare coming out, getting a little bit of harass damage, taking off a charge of the infused raindrops, and now Cogs trapping in the Sniper. Soul Assumption coming in, massive damage, and he's going to go down. And now Skywrath trapped on the back line. The Cogs zoning the rest of his teammates away, who are now trying to rotate in. Edgy and Bioacid trying to find a savior, but now they kill off the Phantom Assassin as well. Do they have any way to catch? The hookshot is up. He could catch a hero here, but who does he want? Does he want the Skywrath? I don't know if he can go
is
The
under
team's not going to
attack.
follow up, so he needs to be really careful here. Throwing out a rocket flare, trying to find some heroes. Another really good fight for the Radiant. Unfortunately for the Dire, they were caught. They were spotted from the high ground. They were on low ground and didn't see who caught them. They didn't know where they were coming from, and they paid for it. Not enough vision on that side to, you know, provide some good scouting information. They also didn't utilize their scan. If they'd scanned, maybe they could have, you know, seen where they were coming from. Unfortunately, not the case here. Crystal Maiden roaming around. Looking at the Medusa, her first talent was the intelligence talent. That's an added ability for her. Added, yeah, it just gives her a lot of tankiness. Blade Mail now finished up on the Clockwork. Skyreth's gonna have to be careful. Crystal Maiden too if she pops that ultimate. But she's only level 5 still. She's TPing away, going to the shrine. Perhaps they... Oh, maybe they didn't realize that was an illusion, but... Oh, Clockwork Hook. Not going to connect, but he does trap Bioacid in the cogs with a battery assault, and now Snarf with an ion shell. That is a rough place to be trapped in, and slowed up. PA taking a lot of damage from this Visage. This Familiar is doing work, but she blinks away to a creep. Search for it. They're not going to be able to catch her. I don't think they have the Familiar stun. They don't want to feed those Familiars away, and they do catch her with the Familiar stun. Are they going to continue to follow up, though? One Familiar, it seemed, even died. Ugh, that's a lot of gold, but I don't think it went to anybody, and she does have Familiars off cooldown. But that second Familiar did get shot down by the tower, so Visage, oh, he resummoned. Rocket Flare providing the information that they need. Phantom Assassin, again, so horrendously underfarmed, only 25 CS. Struggling very badly in this game, and it's starting to show in these fights. She gets melted. She's not even level 10 yet, whereas Drow Ranger is level 10, Medusa level 12? 13. And that Drow Aura providing people with 45 ranged damage, so Medusa doing just about 200 damage per hit. And now going for a Lincoln Sphere, so pretty good survivability item for her. And okay damage as well. I mean, with the Drow Ranger, you can afford to go with those defensive items early, and your damage doesn't suffer for it at all. Looks like another smoke from the Dire. They really want to find something with these smokes, and I'm kind of surprised he hasn't taken at least 1 point in the Ancient Seal. Typically, the Skyreth mages, I mean, he's perhaps just thinking he needs more damage, but Ancient Seal, even 1 point now, is very, very powerful, increasing magic damage enemies take, which increases shrapnel, increases mystic bolt or arcane bolts, mystic flares, and everything Crystal Maiden does as well, and assassinates even. Pings coming out. They see Medusa under that ward. I'm not sure they're going to be able to kill her. Not without the silence. Crystal Maiden really wants her. Skyreth Mage is here, but Phantom Assassin's still a little bit far behind, and again, I don't know if they have the damage. Crystal Maiden, this concussive shot coming in, they jump forward, then Mystic Flare coming out. Medusa's ult, though, they're all going to get turned to stone, and this could buy plenty of time for rotations to come in, and oh, the PA is turned to stone. Arcane Bolt coming out, all 3 heroes stunned up, a dagger coming out, connecting, and now Grave Chill slowed up on that, on the, oh, but the stun coming from the Crystal Maiden, the root, I should say, and oh, Soul Assumption, full charges. He is going to launch at Crystal Maiden, going to go down from that, and now they're trying to get slows out, trying to buy some time, but that gank, they just didn't have nearly enough damage to kill Medusa. I'm very surprised that they tried to go for her. Perhaps it would have been possible if they had a point in the Ancient Seal, and even Skyreth Mage going to pay for that. An Assassinate coming out onto the Drow, but it's mostly just harass, maybe Sniper flexing a little bit, but they really lack in the damage department, and again, I think with that stuns, they maybe would have done it. They wouldn't have been stunned, they could have got a few more spells up, a few more right clicks, and perhaps killed her, but that wasn't the case. Shrapnel coming out, not to scout, it's onto the Drow Ranger. She's just going to try to man-fight this guy, but needs to be careful. If he gets a headshot proc, but oh, Clockwork and Prowl's coming from behind, and just going to blow him up. So this Sniper, that Force Staff use, trying to get himself away from the Drow Ranger, but ends up, you know, screwing him over. Now Clockwork going for 4 armor. It's probably a good choice. Oh, hook shot, who did connect on? Catching the PA, and now a Soul Assumption coming out, but it was really like 0 damage, so a pretty meh Soul Assumption. Oh, but Slardar now TPing in. He doesn't have a Blink Dagger. He is fairly close though. He's about 700 gold away, so This Slaughter just needs some space to farm, giving them a real way to initiate fights, because right now their best bet is to throw out a shrapnel, maybe get a concussive shot that slows them up enough that they can go in on them. But it's not reliable. Visage now finishing up a Solar Crest, popping that defensively on Medusa. I don't think they can kill Medusa. It's only 19 minutes and she's already virtually unkillable. I mean, Darkseer going for the mechanism. Once he gets that mech, it's going to be even harder to kill her. I'm kind of surprised he went ahead of Midas. That's, I think, pretty unusual for Darkseer. It's not so vital on him. He really... I guess it's okay. I mean, if you feel like you're enough ahead, and he finished his mech still at an okay-ish time. Now looking at the overall net worth, I should have switched that for a while ago. It's very... all 5 Radiant heroes, 4 of the Dire are behind everybody on the Radiant, with only Sniper managing to keep himself afloat. But even he's behind the Medusa, he's behind the Darkseer, fairly ahead of the Drow though, and he's only barely behind the Darkseer. But oh, Crystal Maiden going down again. That looked like a... oh nope, hookshot not even used, just slowed up, trapped someplace, and with that hookshot they could try to dive in on somebody down here if they get vision. They're definitely bold enough with that mech, I think, but mech's not delivered yet. Courier on the way with the silence coming out. Dagger slowing up the Drow Ranger. Unfortunately not a dire crit for that PA, but if Drow Ranger toggles that aura, that could be very hefty damage. Perhaps going to do so when Visage shows up with his familiars and they try to take a team fight. So that's 54 extra damage from the familiars. And they have very high attack speed. Oh, it's not, the hookshot not going to connect on anybody. The familiar's trying to scout out. Bree getting in there very ballsy, and now with the double stun from this. Oh, but the vacuum coming out just in time. Bree still alive, but not for long. And now there's 2 dead on the Dire, and the Clockwork already going to go down. And oh, Edgy has an ultimate, but not going to use it. Now the Mystic Cleric coming out. Crystal Maiden trying to slow them up, but she's going to go down. They do get the Visage, though. Mechanism popped from the Radiant, but still they're going to lose their Darkseer. However, looks like they're going to get plenty in return for this. They find 4 heroes already down, and not quite as clean a fight as I think they thought they could get, but still a 4 for 3, and I would be surprised if that favored them. Yeah, it actually favors the Dire, only barely. And they're going to lose their tier 2 tower. So that's really hard to say if it really favors them, but
is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen.
they did kill the Sniper. If the Sniper had lived and the Skywrath had died, that would have been super worth it for the Dire, but wasn't the case, and I'm hard pressed to see where they come back into this game. It's not like they outscale them very much either. Drow Ranger, I mean, Drow Ranger herself, the point of a Drow strat is to get lots of objectives early, and these other tier 2s probably not going to last very long, but they have insurance. They have a Medusa. Medusa in the ultra late game, they're already... unless she's 1v5, I don't know that they can actually kill her. And now they finally have a point in the Ancient Seal, so they will be able to silence her up, maybe burst her down. Looks like Rod of 8. No. Rod of Atos. So he is going a Rod of Atos. Alright. He just needs the recipe now. I forgot that they changed the recipe of it to double bracer. Crystal Maiden TPing to the shrine. Roshan getting gone on by the Dire, or the Radiant. They kill it pretty quick. But it looks like rotation's coming in. But they are spotted by these wards. They need to be careful. There's a shrapnel available. He could use it to scout. They popped their smoke, but it was under vision. Now the Crush coming out, but not blinking at all. And now the shrapnel coming out. Visage very tanky with the Gravekeeper's Cloak, but he could get popped down here. He's out of Gravekeeper's Cloak charges. And now the Medusa ult coming in, slowing them up. The Mystic Snake gonna bounce around a little bit, but only between 2. And now Darkseer, he wants something, and now the hookshot, not quite going to connect, barely missing with it. So far, a whole lot of nothing happening in this fight. The Crush also not going to connect, so both teams expending some resources, but unable to find anything off of it. A Dagger coming out, silence as well onto the Medusa. Her ult is down. There's no hookshot. So So both teams just gonna stare at each other and go their separate ways. PA finally getting her first talent, gonna get some HP. Good choice. She was struggling really badly with surviving these fights. I don't think 15 damage matters that much for her, although she has no items still. She's trying to go for the Vlads, and it's 22 minutes, and she hasn't finished her Vladimir's. Her net worth is only just barely higher than Crystal Maiden's. If this PA had even as much net worth as like the Visage had her Vlads, and maybe then perhaps they could take these fights, but her damage is painfully low unless she gets a crit, and even then I'm not sure it's enough. She does probably less right-click damage than the Visage on average, thanks to the Drow aura. Perhaps they want to go back into the Roche pit. She's being spotted out. That ward's so close to scouting out
Dire's
this one.
bottom tower is on its way further down.
And now they're going to kill off these two wards.
This will come in handy.
And maybe they do go for Roche. They have a solar crest, but no, it looks like they're just gonna float around. Ping's coming out from Edgy. It looks like he knows that there is a ward over here. TP's coming in from the Phantom Assassin. They know they've been spotted though. Roshan getting done. Popping the solar crest, so he's gonna melt really, really fast here. Drow toggled that aura for added familiar damage, and wow, he's getting shredded. So he's getting stunned up. Visage just trying to spam that solar crest out. And oh, the Slardar not able to blink. It's stopped by the Ion Shell. Looks like they're going to be able to finish that. The stun onto the Darkseer, and now a Mystic Snake coming out, bouncing between several heroes, and a massive amount of damage done to each of them. And now with the Aegis in the hands of the Drow Ranger, do they want to continue this? Looks like they're going on Bree, and now the Sniper ult going to be coming out onto the Clockwork. The the Stomp is coming out. Bree's still alive, but only barely, and now Bioacid on the run, getting shredded by these familiars and the Solar Crest.
Quite dangerous, this
And that's a killing spree for the Drow Ranger, and so far it looks like that's all there's going to be. And now the Mystic Snake bouncing around. We're going to see the nuke damage come out onto the Crystal Maiden, about 40% of her HP from that, and now a Soul Assumption. Oh god, Phantom Assassin destroyed, vacuum catching on two heroes. The Rocket going to burst them out a little bit, and now they're all slowed up. The Crystal Maiden popping that ult, really good ult, but she just gets melted.
Probably scary.
Unable to do anything, and now the Skywrath Mage is going to go down as well, and Button's trying his best to find some kind of return kill, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Ion Shell onto the Button, misclick, but that's 5 heroes dead, and they got the Roshan, and now this could be tier 3s, this could even be Rack. Sniper dead for 40 seconds, he's their only real anti-push, and they push incredibly quickly. They don't have active aura, but they don't really need it. I mean, Drow Ranger and Medusa just by themselves, just chunking away at this tower, and Visage also doing very, very hefty damage. Sniper will be up by the time they can toggle the Drow aura again. And Drow going to be going for a Shadow Blade. I think that makes sense. I think you want either Shadow Blade or Blink. I'm not going to go the full stats build.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So it looks like they're going to back, don't want to push up high ground without their ult. It's a good call. The Darks are also out of mana, and Clockwork very, very low. But looking at the overall net worth graph, that's about 20k in favor, 17k in favor of Meester Krabs and XP. About 20k in their favor. So this is really rough for hats. They are not in a good way, and Slardar, man, almost dying just to the Visage alone. That Soul Assumption plus those familiars, very respectable damage when he gets popped by that Solar Crest. And Crystal Maiden sees some people. I don't think she's pinging him out, but I don't think there's no way. If she keeps chasing, she's going to die. They really want something, but I don't think they can get anything. They can't find really any good initiation. Slardar's their only hope for that. Otherwise, the Radiant, they have the Clock Hook from Breed, they have a Blink from their Darkseer. They could even pop a Stone Gaze to get some mass slows going out, but there's really not a whole lot for the Dire. Sniper now just about going to get his Dragon Lance, so even more range for him. Hoping to keep himself safe, but Very difficult to do so against the Clockwork. If he connects a hook on the sniper will probably die. He does have a force staff this time though, and has had it for a while, so should be able to at least get away from the battery assault, get out of the cogs. But that little bit of slowing, that little bit of control might be enough to get him killed. So he needs to be really cautious.
Boom! Here's mine.
Attack speed picked up by that Jar Ranger. I suspect she'll go the aura damage. Speaking of talents, let's see what Medusa has picked up. She's level 18 and went for the evasion, so that's just enough evasion that it helps, but not quite enough to justify an MKB. But MKBs aren't coming out from the Dire for a very, very long time. Sniper only just finishing that Dragon Lance and gonna want that Hurricane Pike. He is farming okay. He's just behind the Jar Ranger, and he's not that far behind the Medusa, even just 2k. We're like, it's about 2k. So about an item, but the rest of his team, Phantom Assassin, doesn't have her Vlads yet. Has no farming items. Very, very bad farm. What's her last hits? 44, and she's 1 in 5, and it's 26 minutes. She's basically a support, and Skywrath is taking up the mantle of just barely another core. So this Phantom Assassin not paying off at all, and now a hookshot coming out. The battery assault in. The Slardar might not want to be here. Battery assault plus but the Mystic Flare coming out, and that Snarf helping soak up some of that damage. The Blade Mill reflecting some of that damage to Vacuum, pulling them towards the cogs. They're still maintaining some cog damage. Just pushed away. Now Snarf getting very, very low, and a gust coming out. Will Sniper be able to get that ult off? But Boots, he really wants something, but his damage is not there. He does no damage at all, and he's just getting melted. The evasion not enough to save him from these two heroes, and that crit was nothing. And PA trying to blink away, but not going to be able to evade that. And oh man, Jar Ranger just diving up the high ground, wants something, but probably a little too greedy. The headshot procs is gonna be enough, but does have the Aegis, but kind of throwing away the Aegis, I think. Very wasteful.
Commotion at Dire's bottom barracks.
Maybe just wanted to use it, I don't know, but had a couple minutes left on it, I believe. Had at least, I think had a minute left on it. And now the bottom racks getting sieged down. Drow, her aura is not able to be toggled right now, so at least, they've got that going for them, but still, these towers are getting demolished.
Farewell to Dire's bottom barracks.
And now Maelstrom onto the Medusa. Rod of Atos catching the Visage, but there's no way they can follow up on this. Silence coming on him now. Oh, the Crush though, gonna connect on Visage. The Silence gonna push him back. But, the Skywrath ult, massive damage coming out. The Gravekeeper's Cloak, and now he's gonna go down to a Maelstrom proc and a headshot proc from the Sniper. And now, 4-man stun from the Visage Familiars. Really well done, but unfortunately no follow-up gonna be able to come out. Sniper ult, throwing it out onto, I didn't see who, but not a lot of damage from that, and not gonna make anything happen from it. So they do get the Visage, so a good kill for them. That's a good 1k gold swing, but 25k for Meester Krabs, it's pretty hard to come back from a gold lead that big. Oh no, Scarlet, please tell me you cancel your TP. He finishes it, and now it looks like they're going in. Double stun though, but he's gonna get just demolished, and now the blade mills are popped, and Slardar Bioacid on the run, and wow, he is in a world of hurt. Oh, the stun does connect, and PA does not want to blink there, and now she's in trouble. A fantastic vacuum. The wall not coming out. They don't need it, and now they're going to kill everybody. 5 heroes dead, and that's at least one more lane of racks. The only buybacks that there are on the Slardar and the Crystal Maiden. Drow Ranger has her aura toggle, and they have a pretty sizable wave coming into mid. So if she turns on that aura, towers are done for. This could even be the end of the game, but it's at least another lane of racks. Drow Ranger not popping the aura just yet. Fortification coming out, maybe waiting for that to come out before going for the aura active. No, Drow getting hit by that Mystic Flare, but really does not seem to care at all. and the tower will be going down in the mid lane. And now silence on the Skywrath Mage,
Dire's middle tower
getting pinked up, but slow, not the slow, but it's gonna die anyway. And now vacuum pulling Crystal Maiden back into the danger zone. Massive damage, and Soul Assumption, not quite gonna kill her, but the familiars just might do it. They don't have a lot of damage. Jar Ranger still no aura toggled, and that mid Rax, the melee Rax is dead, and now the range soon to fall. And Crystal Maiden dying inside her own fountain from a Soul Assumption, so they're diving really deep, just trying to keep them in that base. And Boots not even finishing the Vlads for this PA.
Dire's
Very
middle
underwhelming
barracks
performance from Boot. Boot. Yeah, Boot. I don't know why I keep calling them Boots this game, and really very low impact. Kind of just was a dagger bot, throwing out daggers, getting some slows, but if he was as farmed as like the clock, maybe they could take these fights, but otherwise their damage not enough. Oh, the stun coming out. Cogs, Battery Assault coming in as well, has his Blade Mail on, but don't really wants to dive this, and now the Rod of Atos connecting on the Clockwork. Force Staff back into the fountain, and yeah, he's gonna die there. But I don't know, they have 2 lanes of Rax, but no Megas, and they did take 1 tier 4 tower. Snarf could be in trouble here. Pops that Guardian Goose, and he'll be just fine. The Assassin not going to be nearly enough damage to kill him. And anyone going to get turned to stone? Nope. Cinny going to be just popping that defensive image, trying to get somebody's Soul Assumption coming out, doing a pretty hefty chunk of damage, but not quite enough. They're not going to be able to fight it through this. Molnir, not Maelstrom, finished from the Dusa. Looks like we have a pause. Gonna see if it's oh yeah, it was only super short, so we are back in action. Jar Ranger with the Molnir on herself, the Mystic Flare coming out, proccing that Molnir a lot actually. And now Boot getting Rod of Atos onto the Visage, but again it doesn't really seem to matter. Jar Ranger diving for it, even though she's only at 50% HP and amp damage. Perhaps a little greedy, and she will go down to that sniper who gets a ton of gold, but it's probably too little, too late. Oh, a good crush connecting on 2 heroes, but I don't know if the follow-up damage is there. Sniper able to blink away at them, but I don't know if they want to go in on this Medusa. She's just huge at this point. 60k net worth, 14k on the Jar Ranger. She did die. Looks like they're just going for the tier 4 here. They don't seem to care about Megas, making the Ancient exposed, and man, this Dusa is not afraid of anything. Her damage is so high as well. She doesn't have an ult though. Snarf has Guardian Greaves available, but not able to pop that blink. Guardian Greaves not going to pop onto the Dusa, but Soul Assumption's going to finish that PA off. And oh, vacuum back onto the sniper. The Soul Assumption, about a pretty good amount of damage. Are they actually going to be able to finish him off? It doesn't quite look like it. The snare from the Crystal Maiden, but she's going to die in return. And now it's Stardar. He's probably going to die too. Familiars, are they going to try to pop the stun? Not going to be able to get it off. Arada 8 is coming out. They do get Snarf. Or do they? The silence, but he's very, very tanky. Popped his Hood of Defiance, so it's a good shield. And now it looks like Dire Ancient is getting pinked down. Stun on the Dusa. She has low mana. They might actually be able to kill her off here, but with their Ancient basically dead, I don't know that that matters at all. Hook shot not quite going to connect, but it was very, very close. Now Soul Assumption, they're diving the fountain. Buttons not safe even in his own fountain, and man, yeah, they should probably just finish the Ancient. And they will, unfortunately, Meester Krab's just
the Jar Ranger giving their lanes a lot of strength, and their support duo I think was a lot better. Crystal Maiden and Scarlet is fine, but they didn't really feel like
they couldn't kill the Darkseer. They didn't go bot to harass the Drow for a little while, not until they lost their Slaughter at least one time. The mid lane went alright for them. They did get, Sniper did still kill the Medusa, but the mid lane was the only lane that even went okay, and Sniper is one of those heroes where, I mean, yeah, if they didn't have a clock, they didn't have, control ways to get in on the Sniper, it would have been really devastating, but unfortunately they did. They had answers. And because of that, he wasn't really able to hold up the game on his own. PA got dominated in her lane. She got no CS thanks to that Darkseer Ion Shell. She wasn't able to go farm the jungle. Wasn't even able to finish her Vlads until like 30 minutes. Even then, I don't know if she actually ever finished the item. So a very difficult game for hats before strats. This is only game 1 of 2. I'll be uploading the second game shortly after this one, so please stay tuned, and thank you guys. Please leave feedback in the comment section below, and again, I'm going to apologize for the potato quality of everything. I imagine it was really hard to watch, and if you're still watching right now, thanks. Again, I'm just trying to do these to show that I am going to do them, that time has been a little not on, I have had a lot of time, but and again, thank you for the feedback. Thank you for sticking around through all the potato quality. I'm sure that was like 10 to 20 FPS at the best of times. But anyways, congratulations to Meester Krab. We'll see how game number 2 goes for hats before strats.